Feeling overwhelmed in your business? You're not alone. The secret to sustainable success isn't just strategy, it's regulating your nervous system. When stress runs the show, it impacts your bottom line because it's going to slow you down more than you could possibly imagine. In this conversation, we're going to show you exactly how staying calm and regulating your nervous system can make all the difference in your business. I'm excited so much about this conversation that we're going to have about staying calm, profitable, and the nervous system regulation for business growth. I think this is so interesting and something that we don't always think about as business owners as playing a factor into the success of our business. But
Yeah.
before we jump into that, will you actually introduce yourself and your business to my audience?
Yes. Yes. I'm Dr. Lahana Vigliano. I'm the founder of New Vitru, and we are an integrative health practice. We virtual, so we work with women all over the US, even though we're HQ'd here in Austin. I started it back in 2015. So been around for a while. And we help women with hormonal imbalances, digestive issues, metabolism, honestly, just even you don't have to have a diagnosed disease. It could just be like, I have stubborn weight, or I'm constantly bloated, or I have headaches. So we help women with diagnoses or just simply not feeling well. And a lot of our women are more high-powered women. They're women in business. They're climbing up the corporate ladder. They have families. They're just juggling all the things basically.
And probably women over 40 would probably have quite a few questions as well as their hormones
Yeah.
are shifting and changing.
Oh yes, all that fun season. We're truly on like a roller coaster our whole life.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. So, can you start out by explaining what nervous system regulation is and why it's so important for business owners?
Yeah. So our nervous system is like the command center. So it's made of our brain, our spine, our nerves. It really controls everything from our movements, our thoughts, even things we don't think about, like I don't know, breathing. It's like the communication network that it's constantly receiving signals, it's giving signals, and it plays a huge role in how we feel, our energy levels, just our overall health. And so when we have a regulated nervous system, we are able to shift back and forth between the sympathetic nervous system, which is that fight or flight, and the parasympathetic nervous system, which is more of that rest and digest phase. So we don't really want to be stuck in one. That's not ideal. We want to be able to shift back and forth as needed, but not be stuck. And a lot of women business owners, they tend to be stuck in the fight or flight, the sympathetic nervous system. And why it's important is because it's the way that we handle our stress. It's the way that we show up as leaders. It's the way that we make decisions. And so, as business owners, we have lots of things that we are exposed to high pressure situations. We have deadlines. We're trying to solve problems. Maybe you're managing people if you have employees. So, if anything, the most important things that we need is good communication, clarity, energy, having resilience and steadiness. So, like you said, that calm instead of that chaos. And because when we have the energy and we have the focus and we have the creativity, we're able to grow a successful business out of that. We don't have the burnout because if we're burnt out, let's be honest, we're not helpful to anyone. At least that's how I feel. Whenever I'm like sick with like the flu, I'm like, I can't help my kids. I can't help my employees. I'm useless to like everyone in my life. We don't have the brain fog. We don't have anxiety. Like this really stems to how we show up as a leader for people in our personal life and our professional life. So if we are just in, yeah, that chaos mindset, honestly, I feel like it starts to get mirrored in other areas of our life and it just seems like it's all chaos, which no one wants to, work that way.
No, of course. And so many of those symptoms that you kind of mentioned, the brain fog, the anxiety spiral that many of us go through as business owners,
Yes.
and largely impacted, of course, by stress that we continue to add to ourselves as we are often the CEOs that have to oversee all the things that are happening in our business. So, what are some common signs that a business owner's nervous system is dysregulated?
And this is a huge misconception. I feel like a lot of people think that if they're not, anxiety and panic attacks. So like if they have that, then they're stressed. But if they don't have that, then they're not stressed. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not stressed. I'm not feeling anxious. But it definitely goes beyond that. And everyone is so individual. So it may manifest in you very differently than your neighbor. So for me, I might have anxiety and some heart palpitations. But for this person, they may have just brain fog, fatigue. Maybe they have trouble losing weight. Maybe that's how their body talks to them. There can be GI issues, bloating, constipation, diarrhea. There's irregular periods are a big sign that chronic stress is an issue. Headaches, migraines, getting sick too easily, having muscle tension, poor sleep quality or quantity, like all of those things are red flags that your nervous system is off. So I know that doesn't help because I'm like, I feel like you listed probably every symptom there is, but it does really show up in different ways to people. So I don't want people to think that like, oh, it's just when I'm feeling anxious. No, it definitely goes beyond that.
Said the heart palpitations, because I can think back to probably at least 5 to 6 years ago, and I drove myself to the ER because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Oh my gosh.
But it was from stress. And the interesting part is it wasn't like it was anything particular in that day. I had been on a call actually with my employees at that time, and it just seemed everything seemed fine. But
Yeah.
I had just come back from a conference. I had been gone for a couple of days. And of course, my having been away from my family, as well as then coming back with all these great ideas and wanting to implement them immediately and feeling like I was
Yeah.
behind from having been gone. Um, I can definitely see now that was it showing itself. At the
Oh my gosh.
time, I just didn't know what it
Yes.
was.
And that's a great point to bring up too, is obviously there's some stressors that we know that aren't healthy. Things like, I don't know, being in a toxic relationship or getting in a fight with your best friend or yeah, running way past deadline. But a lot of people don't think about even the things that you love. Like you love being an entrepreneur. Like you love your business. Obviously, that's why you got into it. You love
Mhm.
working out. Like these are just examples that are healthy and people love it. But at the same time, it can also be that stressor that's pushing you over the edge as well. And so that's not saying you drop your business or you drop working out, but it's all about kind of bringing your body back to safety, which I know we'll talk about, and making sure that you have the balance between the two. And so a lot of the times people are like, there's so much good in my life. Like I'm achieving things I've always wanted to achieve. But at the same time, that can still be pretty stressful on the body.
So you actually just brought up that we're going to talk about the daily practices that we can actually incorporate to regulate our nervous system. But before you said that, you gave working out as an example, and I'm kind of nervous now because
Wait.
that's how I feel like that's one of my daily practices. I feel like to regulate my nervous system. I've always said if I don't work out, I will kill someone and it will not be pretty. So now I'm nervous thinking, oh my goodness, am I making myself even, is it making my nervous system worse? So, what are some of the things that we
I
can
can.
be doing as like a daily practice to regulate the
Yes.
nervous system?
And I know a lot of people are like that is how I handle stress. And so I always have to too tell patients because a lot of the times we like love data. So we do a lot of like lab testing in our practice, like stool, urine, blood. I mean, anything you want to give your body fluid to me, I will fully take it. I like love data. And then we have a lot of people that wear like the aura ring. And so they're like, my body keeps telling me that I'm stressed. Like my aura ring keeps like red flagging me. I need to relax. Apple Watch, I don't know, like whatever that you wear or a lab test that you take. And they're like, but I don't feel stressed. And I'm like, well, I feel like when we get to such a chronic stress point, we are so used to high stress that it becomes our baseline. So we may even discredit and say, I'm not stressed. I know that everything's saying that I'm stressed, but I'm not, I don't feel stressed. You do. You can be stressed and your body is stressed, but you're just simply used to it. So you're running at this level of just like stress is your baseline. So you don't even know what it feels like to get out of it. And so that's why yes, we look at those like things like with working out because you can work out. And so, I mean, it's so different for everyone, but I would definitely say like red flags, just answering the workout part is working out 7 days a week. So, and that's like every day you're doing like a workout. like a strength training workout, a HIIT workout, a Pilates workout, like some type of workout that doesn't include like a walk, like something really gentle like that, or even like yoga. I wouldn't consider that. I'm talking about like a workout where you are sweating, you are just moving and grooving. If you're doing that 7 days a week, I would say you are probably doing way too much. And that's like a red flag. But everything else of like that's very delicate. It depends on like, yeah, exactly how people are feeling, how their nervous system is. And the balance of different types of workouts they do. So I just want to mention that. But with getting your body back into parasympathetic mode, everything goes on safety. Does your body feel safe? Because if it doesn't feel safe, it is in that rest, or not the rest and digest, the fight or flight. So getting you away from, a tiger. I know that's commonly used as an example whenever someone talks about nervous system regulation, but I also want to remind people that like being chased from a tiger or someone breaking into your house, that is the same stress response as simply skipping a meal. So when your body feels stress, it doesn't know the intensity. All it knows is it's stress. So it's putting off the same hormones and chemicals as you would in both situations. And so that's why it's all about bringing safety in different aspects. And so diet and lifestyle is so many things that we have control over. So making sure that we're eating enough, making sure that we're eating the right foods. And I'm going to emphasize eating enough because like 95% of women I see, they literally don't eat enough, and they can swear to me that they overeat. They can swear to me, nope, I'm telling you, they don't eat enough because again, our baseline is probably from like the 1990s and early 2000s, like diet culture. So like of what we feel like, oh, well, I'm eating enough. I'm like, girl, you're eating like close to a toddler. Like that's not enough for a grown woman body. So that is a stressor if you don't eat enough, right? So it's like making sure that we're doing that, making sure that we are adding little, I think breathing is so overlooked. And it doesn't have to be like a 10-minute, 20-minute, an hour thing. It can literally be for like 2 minutes of like box breathing, where you're inhaling 4, letting out 4 seconds, inhaling 4 seconds, letting out 4 seconds. So pretty much like working through a box. Meditation, just taking deep breaths, just taking a deep breath where you're not, what do they call it? I know ideally you want belly breathing. You want to be moving your diaphragm. You really want to be deep, like taking a deep breath versus just the shallow breaths, which again, kind of keep us in that fight or flight stage, because taking a deep breath signals to your body, oh, there's nothing emergent around here. If I'm able to take a deep breath, then everything is okay. We can't take a deep breath if we're running from a tiger. So just simply taking a deep breath signals to your body like, we're good, everything's safe. Making sure that you have fun in your week. When I ask people like, when's the last time you had fun? Like really fun, like not something like I went to a conference for work and that's fun. Actually, I think that's fun too, but like really fun, like childhood fun. Like what did you used to enjoy as a kid? Human connection. I honestly, people are like, I don't know. I'm just so busy. I don't know. And I'm like, right there. That's your thing you need to do is you need to schedule in. I love scrapbooking. I love scrapbooking as a kid. Cool. We'll go scrapbook every Friday afternoon. I want you to like scrapbook and not feel guilty about it. And just really infuse fun. I feel like that's something that we've left off because it's like, I have kids, I have job. If I get to it, I will. But I'm like, no, treat your fun as like a doctor's appointment. You wouldn't miss that. You wouldn't reschedule it, ideally. You would make priority of it. Having the balanced workout routine I mentioned, and sleeping, making sure that the sleep is top priority. And then one of the ways to stimulate our vagus nerve, and it is the biggest nerve that runs from like our brain to our gut, because the gut is the second brain. So that's why a lot of times if you want to like go public speaking, you feel like you're about to have diarrhea, that is the gut brain connection. You have felt that. But one of the best ways to stimulate your vagus nerve, which helps us get into that rest and digest, are things like, it's kind of weird, but it's like humming. And the humming really loud because it vibrates and turns on your vagus nerve. Singing really loudly. Again, there's vibration there. Gargling. It's the same idea. Like you're vibrating your vagus nerve. So gargling water, deep breathing also can stimulate it as well. And even I know you might look a little weird doing it, but even doing things like and like letting your, I don't even know what that's called, but just letting like you'll feel your lips vibrate. That also helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is really cool. So you can see like there's little tiny things that you could just be humming while working, at your computer desk. It doesn't have to be anything big, but it's just like the foundational stuff with like, what are we feeding ourselves? How are we moving our body? Are we getting enough sleep? And then there's, that extra stuff of like deep breathing throughout your day, taking breaks, from your computer, things like that. That was a lot, I know.
Yes. No, I love that you gave so many different examples of ways to implement it because already I'm thinking, okay, where are the times where I feel like my anxiety shoots up? And it would definitely be right now where I am teaching my 15-year-old has her permit and she is driving now. And there are
Fully
those moments
power to
where
you.
she's driving and it's not a matter of she's a great driver. Like I'm very, very impressed with what they have taught her through driver's ed and how much she understands. Like she's already driving on highways and at 15, it just blows my mind. But
Wow.
the idea of reminding myself, take a deep breath. And it's not even that I get freaked out. It's the way she responds to my suggestions that I get more annoyed about. So remembering to take those deep breaths, I love. And I also am going to actually use what you said about the, what did you call it? The vagal gland? What was that?
The
What was
vagus
the word?
nerve.
Vagus nerve. Because I have a lot of clients right now who are trying to get on video, trying to do podcasts. And that is a great way to set
Yes.
themselves up for it beforehand. I do that. I will actually like make sure my microphone is on and kind of hum and sing to see how the balance is. But I didn't do it because
Ooh.
I didn't realize that it was helping my regulatory system, like my
Well, that's
nervous
kind of
system.
cool though.
Yes. So the fact that there is actual like a benefit to what I'm doing and can teach that to others, I appreciate
Yes.
you giving so many examples. That was great. So
Yay.
let's talk a little about how create entrepreneurs can create a work routine that actually supports the nervous system health. Like what would you suggest their day kind of looks like? If we have someone,
Yeah.
we're assuming that they have somewhat of work hours, say like 9 to 3 or 4.
Yeah. And if you have the control of being able to push your day back a little bit and start like 10. So my day starts at 10. I don't book anything from 10. Obviously, I have, as the owner, I have that ability to. But if you can, I recommend it because I love filling up my cup first so I can show up for people the way I want to show up for people. I don't want to show up for people in like a chaotic sense. Like that's not the vibe I'm trying to give. So I love getting like that nourishing breakfast. Sometimes I'll get movement in. Um, I usually do, but again, if it's a rest day or whatnot, I won't worry about it. Sunlight, because getting sunlight first thing in the morning can help reset your eternal alarm clock too. So it'll actually benefit sleep long term. It'll get your cortisol in a good way moving. Having minimal phone time, so not, rolling out of bed and checking your phone and emails, like just I will usually start checking that more around like maybe 8:39. So a little bit before my work day, realistically, but not where I'm just like straight from the bed and going into high alert. I love to do something maybe that I enjoy in the morning, especially if it's not a workout morning and it's a rest day. So I have more time there. I usually like listening to like 20 minutes of like, I don't know, a podcast or an audible book that I'm listening to. But I really just want to check so many things off that I do for my health before I get started my workday. Because once the workday gets started, you're kind of like you're in the flow and you're on the go. And then having that boundary of an end time most days. Now, I know certain projects or things I will work later than I normally do, but that is not most of the time. Most of the time, I'm like, okay, I'm logging off at this amount, this time, and I'm cooking dinner for the family. I have a 14-year-old and an 11-year-old. So we're like kind of in the thick of sports. So sometimes, I'm doing sports, I'm cooking dinner. I usually like, even watching a show while I'm cooking dinner. I love like combining things that like relax me together. So I'm like killing two birds with one stone. I love reading. So just again, infusing some of that like fun in my day. And every like wind down routine is different for everyone. But just again, it's consistency is the biggest thing, especially when it comes to sleep, because sleep is like priority. Because if you don't get enough sleep, your cortisol is higher. That's a stress hormone. It is higher the next day. Your blood sugar's all over the place. Your hunger hormones all over the place. So like your sleep sets you up for that quote unquote perfect day. So if you're not having good sleep, that's like the one thing you really need to work on. But regardless if you drink a cup of chamomile tea or you do your meditation at night, whatever it is, it just needs to be consistent. So if you ideally want to go to bed around like 9:30 and you're like, oh, my body needs like a good hour and a half, at 8 o'clock, you need to be starting whatever you want to do and whatever that looks like, and just winding down so your body's very relaxed. And yeah, at 9:30, like you're good to go. Um, And the other thing, though, in the middle of the workday is scheduling your lunch, and maybe two 15-minute breaks, whatever, you like the best, but actually putting that into your calendar. Again, don't let your calendar tell you what to do of like, you have these appointments. Oh, I guess I don't have any time to eat lunch. No, 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 no. We are not five. We say 12 to 1 or 1 to 2, whatever works for you, blocked off, eating lunch, taking a break, taking a breather. And sometimes, honestly, like during lunch, I'll just like pop open like a fun game on my phone, something so mindless, and it just helps me get out of work mode for the hour. So my creativity like jump starts for the second half of my day. So please make sure that you have breaks in your calendar to eat and decompress so you can, do your full work day very productive.
That's perfect. And I'm thinking about, okay, where in my day do I have these things kind of placed in? I think the biggest thing that I would definitely have to work on is the wind down routine because, like you, we have sports. So Mondays and Wednesdays, I don't get home till 10 o'clock from sports. So it's kind of like, okay, I'm ready for
Mm,
bed. I just want to pass out.
yes.
And there is no sort of routine with that. I'm normally actually eating Sour Patch Kids at like 8 o'clock because I'm working in my car because I'm stuck there
I
in the
work in my
parking
car
lot for
too.
2 hours.
Yeah, yeah. I work in my
So
car too during those like sports. I was just telling my friend, I was like, you know what? I take back and I regret all the things. I know it's a different type of hard, but I'm like, yes, it's hard having toddlers and young kids and like, when they're in preschool or in kindergarten, but I would sit here and argue with someone. I think this season of life with teens that are in sports and it's go, go, go. Cause like once you hit middle school, like you can't just be like, we'll just miss a day of school. Like that will backtrack them. Like they have tests and all these things, and it's just more serious. And so I would argue that like having teens is extremely harder. I know it's a different type of hard, but it is potentially more draining on the body. I don't know. Maybe I just simply forgot what toddlerhood was like, but I'm just like, I remember it being hard of maybe there's a lack of sleep and I breastfed on demand and all these things when they were younger. But this is next level. This is
it's
next level
it's
having teens.
yes, it's definitely a different season of life for sure.
Yes. Yes. At least like
So
with toddlers, you're like, okay, we didn't sleep well that night. Well, that night, let's just lay on the couch. And I remember like putting on like Mickey or whatever for my kids, and they would, like watch, but I would like be laying there with like my eyes shut, and they'd be sitting on my lap and just watching like Mickey. But and so it wasn't rest, but at least I was able to not have such extreme like commitments. And now, yeah, it's just like we're trying to get into college, we're trying to get on this best team, we're trying to make the team. It's definitely higher stress in this season of life for sure.
my goodness, yes. So you do you have a freshman in high school then?
For
Or
going into
no?
freshman next year.
Okay. I'd like to
Yeah.
tell you it's that freshman year. Ooh, we're in it and between honors and AP and track for
Yes.
college and oh my word, it was a wake-up call. So I think
Yes.
yes, yes.
Yes.
All
That's
right.
that's
So
exactly what it is.
but these are good to have these practical tips that you're giving because it does get stressed. You always go through a new season of life. My grandmother would always say to me, this too shall pass. Always told me that, no matter what it was. And I
Yeah.
always try to remember that. And at the same time, as I have friends that now have kids that are graduating and reminding me, they're going to be out of your
We'll get
house.
there.
This is all you have with them. You better take advantage of it. It's those remembering, okay, these are all the little moments that I have to cherish at the same time and be that good mom. But
Yes.
oh, sometimes it can be so hard.
So hard. And especially too, like all your listeners are women who are trying to create a difference in the world, and they have their own passion. So there's a balance between, yeah, being there for your kids and all that. I thankfully never quote unquote got lost in motherhood. I was always, and I blame myself for being a young parent, and that is why I always had that. So I was 18 when I had my son. So me and my husband started very early. And so
Mhm.
I was still in pre-med. So I was going to like UCF like in person, working full time because we were so young, and then having my son. So I feel like I've always had to do the balance of, yeah, being a mom, but making sure that like my dreams, because I was so young, you kind of like naturally like, I'm gonna take over the world. And so I've always had that. So I've kind of been forced to always balance that. So I never really got lost in it. But it's just so important to, yeah, maintain balance because you only have so much time with your kids, but you also are you, and you have this passion and this drive for a reason. And I don't want you to forget that either and put you on the back burner while everyone else is, thriving.
Yes. And I think I always remind my people that the best way to do that and not feel the mom guilt that can often be associated with that is to remember that if you don't put out your gifts, your talents, your solutions, you're being selfish to those that could actually
Yeah.
that take so much
Yeah.
value from what you have to offer. So I
Yeah.
always remind my people of that, to just really sit in that and be okay with the fact that you have those talents for a reason. Your family, you're going to do your best to
Yeah.
balance it. And this is a great conversation for them to be listening in on, so that they can start to apply some of these tips and make those kind of interactions that they have that much more beneficial with their families.
Yeah. And I would say one thing to add on to that too is all of these wellness things that you're doing and also just like pursuing your dreams. Your kids are watching. So if you have kids, they are watching all of this. And I always say, what would you, if your daughter came to you and she's like, I am so stressed, I have all these things, what advice would you give her? You would give her like, make time for fun, take a break, let's go. Like we would say that. So it's like, why would you say that? But you don't take that own advice. So we start as being the role models, and so my kids are seeing me like, oh, mom, make sure to, I don't know, read her Bible in the morning. Oh, mom, make sure to take a lunch break. Like she's not skipping. So I'm trying to make sure that I am breaking that generational like hustle, bustle, and don't take care of yourself. And so if you ever need any type of motivation, I feel like our kids are our biggest main motivations in life. Just make sure that they are watching you and making sure that what you're doing and what they're watching is something you want them to do as well.
Yes. And for those that are listening that don't necessarily have children in their own home, maybe you have grandbabies or you have nieces and nephews, it's across the board a best
Yes.
friend that brings their child around. You're just constantly influencing them. So I'm so glad that you brought that piece up. Now,
Yeah.
so can you tell me a little bit about the free classes that you offer? We're going to link to that actually
Yeah.
in the show notes so that they can make sure that they take advantage of it. But what are some of the classes that you offer?
Yes. I love these because it helps me share how my brain works. So we have like weight loss, like a stubborn weight loss class. We have hormone classes. We have a thyroid class, a gut health class. And what I'm sharing is, and what we do here at New Vitru is understanding that there's like, we're getting to the root cause. So if someone does have hypothyroid and their thyroid isn't working well, that class will walk you through one, like what is a thyroid? Like what is TSH? What is T4? Like I want you to be able to educate you so you understand what those basics things are. But also then like, okay, let's start unpeeling the layer back. Like why would your thyroid not be functioning well? Because it's more than just like, oh, your thyroid's not functioning well. Here's medication. That's no, that's putting a band-aid on the issue. And even like there's conventional and then there's what we call like functional medicine. But even functional medicine, honestly, like I don't know, I guess I have such high standards, but even then I like kind of nitpick because we see a lot of patients who have seen everyone. They've seen a conventional doctor, they've seen an integrative doctor, they've seen a naturopath, they've seen a dietitian. I'm like, what makes you so different? Because like I've already seen all these professionals. And what I have seen when I'm like, okay, show me your care plans. What did they recommend? Even though it's natural, they'll be like, oh, you have inflammation. Here's turmeric. And so it's not a traditional pill for an ill, but it's a natural pill for an ill, and it's still not getting to the root. So these classes, I want to like kind of help you peel all those layers and keep asking why. Okay, well, my thyroid isn't working. Well, why? Well, this could be the reason. Okay, well, why is that happening? And when you keep asking why, most of the time the roots will lie within diet, lifestyle, past trauma you need to address. Like there's a lot to that. But that's what the classes are, is like, if you have gut health issues, let's talk about what can throw off your gut. And then, of course, there's some basic takeaways of things you need to emphasize and focus on, but everyone is so individual. So even someone that has like PCOS and this person has PCOS, they may be on two different care plans. And so that's where that bio-individuality comes into play. But those classes are a fantastic starting point to just try to help you start thinking root cause and then giving you some fun action takeaways that you can start doing.
Perfect. We are going to make sure that we have those linked on the site so that everyone listening can take advantage of those. Dr. Lahana, I appreciate you so much for taking the time to speak with me and share your knowledge with my audience.
Thank you so much for having me, Jenny. It was so much fun.
I don't know about you, but I plan to blow raspberries whenever I need to calm myself down, whether it's before a video, during an interview, whatever it is. You'll probably see bloopers of it in the near future. I'd love to know in the comments what you are going to do from this recording of how to impact your nervous system, and in doing so, impact your bottom line of your business.